Hello, everybody. How are you? This is JR. Welcome back. Taking a beautiful walk out here today. Wow, what a nice day. I had just filmed a 25-minute video only to discover that the microphone I was using was dead. There was no voice, no audio whatsoever. So I'm using the phone's microphone. So if it's not that great, I do apologize, but I think it'll be fine for what we're going to do. I want to talk to you today about your thoughts, your ideas, right? Why you think what you think. And I think that is a very good question, and you should too. I'm going to tell you, you should think that's a good idea to know why you think what you think. Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where people are so easily swayed in one way or the other. And we see that right now, politically speaking. Now, I don't care what side you're on, left or right. I don't believe in left and right. I'm not going to get into that. The point is, we're easily swayed. Humans are typically easily swayed. Now, if you don't believe that, read the book Propaganda by Edward Bernays. That is a great book. That really shows you the underbelly of society. Edward Bernays, Propaganda. Read that book. I promise you, you'll love it. Well, talking about our minds and why we think what we think, it's very important that we pause here and think about what that means. You know, the citadel, the core of your being. There lies your thoughts, your ideas, your ideologies, your religion, what you think, what makes you, what makes me. You know, I am who I am. I'm not just my name. I'm not just a job title, what I do for a living. That doesn't make me. What makes us is what we do, what we think. And to think is to do, correct? And unfortunately, we don't give a lot of thought to that. It's kind of like we're on autopilot. We just go do because guess what? We've been told what to do. Therefore, we do. Let me give you an example. When I was a kid, my stepfather loved Ford products. That's right, Ford, you know, the vehicles, Ford products. And he was convinced that Fords are by far superior to any other car brand in the world. And he would argue that point. And of course, I adopted the same ideas. And I would argue with my friends in school that Ford was the best vehicle in the world. It wasn't until maybe a decade later when I got into the car business, because I've always been an automotive enthusiast, love cars, love them, that I discovered that they were not great vehicles. Now, I know there's probably some Ford fans. My daddy drove a Ford. I've always had a Ford. Doesn't matter. The engineering specs tell the truth. And Toyota, Lexus are by far superior in quality and have a better resale value than any Ford ever made. Now, whether you like that or not, it's not the point. The point is that I had to think for myself with the evidence given to me to come to the determination that what my father said was, in fact, wrong. Now, what other things in life can you think of that are wrong? I can think of a few. Let's go back to school, kindergarten, all the way through 12th grade. In your career as a student, at any time did your teacher say, pull out your economics book, or rather your how to be an entrepreneur book, and open to page whatever, and let's discuss on how to own your own business? Think about that. You imagine what would happen if everybody came out of school as an entrepreneur? These big corporations would be gone, right? Ever stop to think that maybe this system is designed for the elite and the wealthy, to get you to think a certain way, to act a certain way, respond a certain way for their interests? Now, I'm jumping ahead here. I know I should have waited a little bit more of a hook. Don't care. I'm not scripted. I don't believe in scripts. The point I'm trying to make is this. We are fed a line of crap all of our life. And if you don't believe that, take a look at the world. Take a look at what's going on. This world is about almost on the verge of burning because of people's thoughts or ideologies, what they've been told by the news, what they have been radicalized to believe in universities. Take a look at this, man. Do these people, you ever seen these men on the street interviews where people will go out with a microphone and ask people questions as to why they are doing what they're doing? It doesn't matter if it's left or right. They don't know. It's like they're zombies. It's like they don't understand what they're doing. They're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. That's not a person that's conscious. That's not a person that thinks for themselves. That's a person who travels in packs. They're a pack animal. I'm not a pack animal. Are you? Don't be a pack animal. Being a pack animal is not good. Not good. But back on school, we're taught how to be slaves. Wage slaves. You know, the bell, ring, ring, ring. Next class, sit up straight. Be quiet. Look forward. Don't question. No questioning. This is how we do it. This is what you're going to learn. This is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn with everybody else in here because for some reason we're under this this weird impression that you're just like every one of your other peers and you're going to do exactly what they do. You're going to grow up like them. You're going to go to college. You're going to get that degree. You're going to go work for that corporation. You're going to work 5 days a week, right? You want to be a good employee now because you want to make that person that you're working for rich so they can have their yachts and go on their exotic vacations. That's okay. They can do that. But what about you? How about you? How about you be the entrepreneur? How about you own the business? How about you be the one that employs other people if you want to? I'm not saying you have to. Again, this channel is not about telling you what to do. Really, this is really examining life. This is examining your mind, your thoughts, your ideas, questioning why you think what you think and why you do what you do. Because, you know, a person who can't question themselves and get resolve, can't get answers to questions they have about themselves, that is a person that is always destined to be in a herd and being pushed in a direction that's going to enrich the elite, right? The predator class. And that's why thinking about why you do what you do, why you think what you think is the most important thing you'll ever do. It's more important than religion. It's more important than football. It's more important than sex. It's more important than food. It's more important than water. Because you don't want to be 70, 80 years old and look back and say, man, I wish I would have done something different. I wish I would have been more awakened by what was going on around me. I wish I would have asked more questions. I wish I would have spent more time with the people I love as opposed to chasing money all the time. For what? Consciousness. Questioning the citadel of your being. That's important. Intellectual dishonesty is one of the most disgusting and vile things a person can partake in. Being dishonest with yourself, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. You know, some of you in the back of your mind, you know there's questions you want to ask yourself and you wish you knew why you do what you do, but you won't ask the questions. I want to encourage you to do this. I want you to think about what I'm talking about here. School. Why you're not taught to be a business owner. Why you're not taught about money, where money comes from, what money is actually for. Why you're not taught to seek the things you want to do in life. Why is it that everything is just so normalized in the realms of how you're supposed to go to school, continue higher education, and go get a job and do the things that everybody else has always done? Why is that so normalized? It's not because it works. I'm going to tell you something. Working hard does not benefit you anymore. You're not a boomer. It benefited the boomers. It's not going to benefit you because inflation is outpacing wage earners like 10 to 1. I mean, the home prices alone, right? From 2018, what was it? $280,000 roughly. Now it's $500,000 or more. Just that short period of time. Did wages go up that much? You know, I think it was in 1980 that the home prices were 40 times more than the average wage, whereas I think it's close to 400 times more now. So the dollar doesn't go as far. We're being destroyed by inflation, and you're told, work harder. Work an extra job, work 2 jobs, work 3 jobs. You know, when everyone was convinced that you needed 2 incomes in your household, guess what happened? Prices went up, more demand. That's how the market works. It's liberating to be in debt. It's liberating to put your kids in daycare. It's liberating to go work for somebody else. Are you serious? Think about that for a moment. How liberating it is to put my children in daycare and go work for somebody who doesn't give 2 damns about me. That's liberty. That's freedom. No, it's not. That's slavery. That is pure slavery. And we believe that. I don't. But most people believe that. Put my kids in daycare. Go get a corporate job. Have the prestige of being a slave. Wake up every morning rushing out. It's a sense of achievement to work for somebody else and to be someone else's servant. Because God forbid that I think for myself and become an entrepreneur and keep the wages to myself as opposed to giving it to somebody else and building their empire and dream. Are you getting things? Are you getting this yet? Are you getting it? You've been lied to. You have been lied to think that that's freedom. There is no freedom in being a wage slave. Zero. Zero. The only person it's going to benefit is going to be the person or corporation you're working for. If you're happy with that, by all means, go do it. Go do it. But this goes back to what I said earlier. Questioning why you think what you think will give you answers to why you do what you do. I want to be happy. I want to do this. I want to do that. But yet you cannot be intellectually honest with yourself. You can't ask the questions. Is putting my kids in daycare and getting a job and letting someone else raise my kids and getting that position and that prestige, that sense of accomplishment by letting other people raise my children while I work for a corporation? That is freedom. I know I've said that already. I'm going to keep saying it. We got to get it through our heads that we've been lied to. We've been lied to about all this. There is no freedom in being a slave. That is doublespeak. That is nuts. You know where the freedom is? Is thinking. Freedom is in doing for yourself and for those you love. Freedom comes when you can stand before the mirror with a piece of paper and you can ask yourself the questions you've always wanted to ask yourself, and you can get to know yourself. You know, the reason why people don't know themselves is because they're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Both parents, kids are in daycare. Nobody's thinking. People are just on cruise control, doing what the system has told them to do for years. And they wonder why they're unhealthy, and they wonder why they're unhappy. Maybe we need to think about that. Maybe we need to question it. I don't know. Again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just making suggestions. I just really would like for the average individual to stand before themselves in a mirror and ask themselves this question. Who am I? And why do I do what I do? Why do I think what I think? Amazing. Could you imagine if every person woke up one day, right? And they stood before that mirror and asked themselves 5 questions and shut their mouths and listened and wrote down the answers. I'm telling you, you'd be very surprised at the answers that your mind will give you if you'll ask the questions. I can't tell you what questions those are. You're going to have to figure them out yourself. But you know what you're doing. You know what you're lacking. And you know there's this feeling in the back of your mind and you're saying to yourself, this isn't quite right. Something is off here. I'm busting my tail and nothing is getting better. These politicians are making promises, but everything's getting worse. The church, I'm paying a tithe. But how is that helping me? Don't get me started on the church. I was a pastor in 4 different churches. Started questioning the church. Started questioning everything. And I tell you what, the answers I got is amazing. You know, I'm a free man now, I feel. You'll never be completely free. You'll always have to pay taxes and you're going to die and you're going to get sick. But freedom from the norm, using the matrix, I can't even say that. Using the system, I get tongue-tied sometimes. I'm going to leave that in and I'm not going to edit that out. I don't like editing. The matrix is lying to you, but using it against itself, not going along with the herd. That's dangerous. But you know what? That is liberating, and you can do it. You can do it, man. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Get to know yourself. Ask yourself the questions. And all be raw, be real, no scripts. That's what we're doing here, right? I'm just an average guy asking above average questions. I'm not telling you what to do or what to think. I'm just asking you to think. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor. Would you like, share, comment? It really helps the channel. And maybe you know someone who needs to hear this. Maybe you needed to hear it today, or maybe I'm just some old Gen X guy that doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and you just swipe away. Either way, I wish you nothing but the best. This is JR, over and out.